What's up, guys? It's XRAYZ, and welcome to part 7 of the zombie storyline. You guys have really been enjoying the series, and as soon as Mob of the Dead came out on the 16th, people were leaving comments on my video saying when is part 7 going to come out, and I was giving it a little bit of time. I kind of wanted to make sure that the whole story was out and that we knew everything about the characters, because there's a lot of information, people that were posting information about it, and I just decided not to include the other stuff. There's people who are saying that, well, I'll talk about it a little bit more into the video, but I didn't want to make a video that had false information in it or that was incomplete information, and I hope you guys understand that. It's the only reason that I haven't posted part 7. So, thank you for all the comments, thank you for all the concern. You guys have been really loving this series and are constantly telling me to upload part 7. The only sad thing about the series is that as soon as I upload this video, it's gonna be like 3 or 4 months before we see part 8, because the next map won't come out, you know, for another 3 months. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. I'm thinking about doing maybe like custom zombie stories or something. I don't know, you know, but it's just something I want to talk about. Anyway, so let's jump straight into the story. Before I do, really quickly though, if you guys have not seen any of the first 1 through 6 parts, I would recommend that you guys go check it out, because this is a very long story, and up to this point you guys are probably don't understand how the hell any of this came to be. So before you guys watch this one, if you have not seen any of the parts from 1 through 6, go watch it, come back, watch this one. So if you guys have already watched it, let's jump straight into it. Anyway, so Mob of the Dead actually has its own backstory before we jump into the zombie part of the story. So if you guys paid attention to the cutscene that comes out when you play solo, it tells you a little bit about each one of the new protagonists that are in Mob of the Dead. And the new protagonists are Salvador DeLuca, Billy Handsome, Michael Finn O'Leary, and Al the Weasel Arlington. All of these are mobsters. This map actually takes place during the Prohibition era in America, which, if you guys don't know what the Prohibition era, it was the era where alcohol was basically banned. No one could buy alcohol, nobody could drink alcohol. During this time is when we saw all of the monsters, is when we saw, you know, people reminiscent of Al Capone and all of that kind of stuff. So this map actually takes place during that time, and of the 4 protagonists, the one that is kind of like the highest up in the mobs is Salvador DeLuca. He's basically like this mob boss, and he has 2 people that worked for him, which was Billy Handsome and Al the Weasel Arlington. So both of these guys kind of work for him, and Michael Finn O'Leary was kind of this other guy who got in trouble for doing gambling. He had a lot of fraud going in gambling, and his own wife was the one who kind of testified against him, and he got screwed over and went to Alcatraz. So anyways, what ends up happening is all 4 of these guys are in Alcatraz, and they are sentenced there for quite a while. There's no mention as to how much time they had to stay in Alcatraz, but the point is that they're in Alcatraz. And what ends up happening is that Al Arlington, we're just going to refer to him as Al from now on, Al gets this crazy idea in his head that they're all going to try to escape from the island. They're all going to, you know, they come up with an escape plan, and the escape plan being they're going to build a plane and they're going to fly off the island. So it's a really crazy idea, it's a really crazy plan, and honestly it's a plan that, you know, we are surprised, we as the viewers of this kind of story are surprised to find out that the rest of the crew actually went along with it. They were saying that Al was the kind of person who could convince anyone of anything. He was like the kind of cheater who could cheat a cheater, as it says in the actual intro. So he kind of told the other guys, hey, we're gonna build a plane, we're gonna get off this island, we're gonna get away from here. And so basically they all go in, they all start talking about the things they're going to need, they all start planning it out. But what ends up happening is that they all start kind of fighting amongst each other over what they're going to do. Their plans start kind of breaking apart, they start getting really angry, and what ends up happening is that they decide that they're not going to do the plan. The plan just completely breaks apart, and they eventually get angry at Al for, you know, basically coming up with this plan, this stupid idea that they thought was never going to work. They tried it, and so they get really frustrated, they get really angry at him. And so what ends up happening is Salvatore, Billy Handsome, and Finn, they all decide that they each kind of make their own makeshift weapons, you know, spoons or you know, shanks or whatever the hell you want to refer to them. They make makeshift weapons, and they decide that they're going to, you know, lure Al to the roof of the prison. So what ends up happening is they tell him, hey, let's go to the roof. They all go to the roof, and the 3 of them end up killing Al. So they kill Al, and once the prison guards and everyone finds out about what happened, all 3 of them are sentenced to death via, you know, getting electrocuted in the electrical chair. So they all end up dying. That's the story. They end up all dying. And then what happens is, once the zombie aspect of the story comes into it, is they wake up to find, you know, they thought they were dead, and then they find out that they're back on Alcatraz, but they see zombies everywhere. And so the thing is, if you pay attention to the game while you're playing it, Al kind of seems to know what's going on. Again, if you guys, referring back to the first story where the three of them killed Al, he has already been in this kind of weird zombie place a little longer than them, because he was killed first. He was killed by the three of them, and then they later came into this weird zombie world after they were electrocuted. So Al kind of knows what's going on. He's kind of been through this weird cycle that they're just starting to get used to. And so what they decide is, they're gonna go through with the plan, and which is what you guys start to do with the Easter egg when you start playing. They start gathering all the parts. They start gathering the parts for the plane. They build it. But what happens is that they get stuck in this kind of weird infinite cycle. And the cycle is where they build a plane, they get on the roof, the plane shoots off, and instead of being able to escape, they end up crashing on the Golden Gate Bridge. And then what happens is, they again, you know, they crash on the Golden Gate Bridge, they go back to the electric chairs, and they end up killing themselves. They go back, and they're back on the island again. They build the plane again, they go back again. So what ends up happening, if you guys know the story behind Shangri-La, it's kind of like the same thing. There were two characters in Shangri-La that were stuck in an infinite loop, where they were never able to escape. So this is kind of like the same thing that's going on. They build the plane, they try to get off, boom, they crash back to the island. They try to build the plane, boom, they crash back to the island. And after a while, the three of them that killed Al, so Salvatore, Billy Handsome, and Finn, they each decide that, you know, they decide again, hey, we gotta kill Al again. We gotta kill him. And that's how the cycle keeps going. They keep killing him over and over, ending back up on the island. So at this point, you know, at the end, when you actually complete the Easter egg in Mob of the Dead, you have a choice where you're either able to kill Al or you let Al kill you. So what ends up happening is, if you kill Al, if the three of them, you know, kind of gang up on him and they kill Al, then Al, you know, you get text, the game ends, and the text says the cycle continues. But if you let Al kill the three of them, then it says the cycle is broken, which at that point, you know, there's really no information as to what happens after that. All it really says is that the game ends and it says that the cycle is broken. So we might go somewhere else from this. It could be not at all related to zombies. It's a little strange because there is no word as to who is controlling the zombies. No one really knows who the zombies are, and you know, when they wake up, they're all dead. So it's not really like a thing where, you know, this is real life. They are all dead, kind of like this in weird new dimension where zombies are everywhere around. I don't know what this could mean. You know, we'll find out more in future DLC, but that's the story behind Mob of the Dead. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Call of Duty Zombies story. If you did, slap a like on this video. It really helps the series out, and it helps the video get out there for more people to watch who maybe don't know the story. So leave your support, leave a like, leave a favorite as well. Share it if you can on Facebook and Twitter. And also, if you guys are new and you're enjoying the content I am bringing out, go ahead and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/OGXRAYZ. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. We'll see you guys in part 8 once the next DLC comes out. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm XRAYZ. I'm out. Peace.